that makes it easier for you as a coach to plan backwards. So we actually plan backwards when we're thinking about teams. We think about where we want them to be, and then we have to spread that throughout the year and sprinkle little bits of help and sparkle and breaks in between those times to get them where we want them to be.
Hey, are you ready to open the next cheer chapter? I'm Allison Sack with over 20 years in the cheerleading industry, and somehow I ended up as an author too. I'm here to give it to you straight. No fluff, useful tips, and all the quirks from life on the mats and in the books. Whether you're doing the laundry, driving, or just trying to survive, you're in the right place. So grab your coffee or your jug of water and let's turn the next page.
This is my first ever cheer coaches chapter, so super excited to get started with helping some brand new cheer coaches. You might not even be brand new, maybe you're just beginning to be a coach, maybe you're thinking about being a coach, but what actually started me thinking about this concept to put into information and get it out there was last year and the year before. I actually had some parents reach out and ask me about mentoring them to become a cheer coach and how that would work and how do they become a cheer coach. And these people were in different places in the world that I had met from different places, and they had moved and they really wanted to start their own cheerleading program but had no idea how to start. So it's taken me a couple of years to get here, but nevertheless, here we are. And I'm using a new mic today, which is a little bit exciting. So I'm hoping that the quality of the YouTube channel and the podcasts are going to be higher quality with the sound. So I'm excited to go back and edit these, which is tomorrow's job, and see how that sound goes. Now, today's topic, cheer, is planning a successful cheer season from scratch. And what does that look like? What do I do? And how do we even go about it? When do we even do that, right? So everybody might do this a little bit different. Maybe some people you've been around do it the same, but I'm going to tell you how I do it, and you can chop and change it however you like. Take what you need. So thinking about a cheer season, I would do this ahead of time. Now, I'm in Australia, right? So I don't know where you are in the world listening or reading or watching this. So you need to think about your season, because depending on where you are in the world, you have different school times, you have different terms, different events at different times of the year, which is going to make it a little bit difficult. It's the same with going to comps and traveling around the world doing comps. So thinking about that, I'm going to talk about it from my perspective within Australia, and you can adjust it to your times on where you are in the world. Now, in saying that, being in Australia, if I'm thinking about the following season, our season over here would technically start, for me and my program, would start at the beginning of term 1 of that school year. That would be the beginning. So for us, that's in February. Now, planning the season ahead, I would start thinking about what I'm going to do with the teams and where I want them to go in July of the year before. So you're probably looking at about 6 to 8 months prior, because at that time you're currently in the season. I mean, you guys might not be if you're starting, right? But you're in the season, so you're getting feedback from parents, you're getting feedback from athletes, you're getting feedback from events to know what is working, what isn't working, and what changes you want to make for the following season. Now, if you're not a coach in that season and you're an athlete or you're a parent, I would be taking notes during that time, because it will help you with those decisions in what you're going to plan in coaching for the following year. So you're going to be taking notes. I always write them in my phone. Mental notes do not work for me, but do whatever works best for you. And then you can plan that season well ahead of time. So beginning of the season. Now, usually you would do tryouts for teams way before your first term, right? So if we're starting in February, tryouts will usually start in December sometimes, and you'll do them in January. So December and January, so that's 2 months ahead of when your season starts. You'll be doing your team tryouts, and then you can do your team placement times where you can sit down, figure out who's going to go in what team, who's got what skills, who's going to work best together, all of those things, which is probably another episode of how you build those teams and make those decisions and why coaches make those decisions and so on, which might be a bit of a parent episode as well. But anyway, you're going to sit down at that time 2 months ahead do your team tryouts. If you're starting a brand new program, let's say, you probably will do, look, honestly, it depends where you are and what type of athletes you're taking on. It could be that you're taking on brand new athletes that have never, ever done cheer, and 95% of those people are like that, and you've only got a very small percent that have done cheer. Or you could be the opposite, and you could be in an area that have got a lot of experienced athletes, and then that's really a different ball game. So you really need to know what type of athletes you're working with and where you want them to go before you can even do anything else, right? So let's go back. 2 months ahead of time, you've got your tryouts, team placements, come and try cheer for free type of things going on, so that you will know what you're going to be working with. Then you're going to send out your team placements, and your training's going to start term 1 of whenever that might be for you. For us, like I said, it's February. Now you're going to be thinking about, okay, so we're starting in February. I've got my teams. I know roughly what teams I want to have, which is another thing as well. Like, you kind of want to know, well, what ages am I going to have? What levels am I going to be coaching? Or what levels am I going to be offering? It's kind of hard because you're kind of guessing, which is part of the industry, right? It's one of those things that comes along with our industry, is that we might not know who is going to join for the following year for sure. Especially if you're starting new, you might not know. So you might not know, okay, I'm going to have all level 1s and novice, or do you know what, I'm going to have up to level 5, or I'm going to specialize in partner stunts. You might not know. You're going to have tinies, minis, youth, senior, open. Like, obviously, you know, there's so many divisions, age groups, and levels. So you do need to know, okay, well, for that following season, as a coach, I'm going to be coaching this particular age group. So it's kind of merging into like program owner and coach. You might not be a program owner, gym owner. You might just be coaching for that year. And if that's you, then your gym owner might say, okay, well, next year you're going to be coaching tiny novice, or you're going to be coaching junior 2, or you're going to be coaching senior 4. Whatever it might be. That helps you a lot, because it takes, as a coach, a lot of those questions that I was just mentioning completely out of the equation, and you get to just think about, okay, I've got my senior 4, and this is what we're doing. And usually your program owner or your gym owner will tell you what events you're doing, what comps you're doing, when showcase is going to be, so on and so forth. All that is done for you. So as a coach, you're just thinking about your team. But if you are, which I will do episodes as a program owner, so if you have specific questions on that, or things you would like some ideas and support and help with, please just shoot them through. Otherwise I will kind of dribble them in and try not to side quest too much. But as a coach, you'll be told, usually, this is your team, this is your goals, and maybe you might even have meetings with your program or your gym owner to say, you've got senior 4, this is going to be their goals for the year. What do you think? Have you worked with them before? Have you not worked with them before? All of those kind of things. Where do you want them to be? Is it a training year? Is it a competitive year? Is it a brand new team? Is it a team that's returning? Are they wanting to tour? Are they not touring? Like, there's so many questions. So once you've got all of that information, you know which team you've got, you know which age they are, you know what their goals are going to be for the year, and you know which events they're going to. That makes it easier for you as a coach to plan backwards. So we actually plan backwards when we're thinking about teams. We think about where we want them to be, and then we have to spread that throughout the year and sprinkle little bits of help and sparkle and breaks in between those times to get them where we want them to be. So in working backwards, you're looking at what's happening at the end of the season and where do I want them to be. So do they have your gym showcase throughout the year? If so, when is that? What comps are they doing? When are they? How far apart are they? And what is the biggest goal of the year? So is your biggest goal of the year that you're wanting to place top 3 at the last comp of the year? Or are you in a team where you're like, this team's brand new, I just want them to hit 0, do a clean run, work on their skills, grow the skills as a team, and we will progress them next year into being more competitive. So knowing what your goals are will help you with that. get like a big calendar out. I used to actually go to our local printers and they would give away these like free massive calendars that were like this big, and I would get them from my staff as well, and we'd have one up in the staff room, and that's how we would like jot out the year, because I'm very visual and drawy, and I like to just be able to see things, and I don't like text. Yeah, so it just depends on you and your style and what you like. And you also, if you're a coach as well and you're in charge of this team, you might actually have junior coaches underneath you that you need to think about as well. Like, how are they going to fit into this team? What's their roles going to be with this team? Are you then going to have a meeting with those, and that them, I don't know how many you have, you might have one or two, I don't know. But you might want to sit down and have a meeting with them and say, look, these are my thoughts for the team. What do you think? What are you comfortable with? What are your goals? What are your learning? What can I help you learn and grow and support you with? And what ideas do you have for this team? Because I really find that younger people are just so good for ideas, creations, stuff you would just never think of. I find like the older we get, the more rigid we get, for sure. I don't know if there's anyone else, but I just love, that's one of the things I love about, now I'm going to go off on a side quest. That's just one of the things that I love about having young people around is they're just still so fluid, and a lot of them don't have a filter, and they'll just say it as it is, and it just keeps things so much simpler. Anyway, so keeping those in mind. So let's just say for me, I've got a junior level 1 team. They're starting in February, that's the start of their season, and their goal would be to place at their end competition, which would technically be for us around November time. And I would like them to place somewhere within the top, say, half of their division, and I would like them to hit 0 at their first comp. Maybe not showcase. So for us, we would do showcase halfway through the season-ish, just before we start competitive that season. So just before it goes into comps, that's when we will do a program showcase, and you can jot them out. Now, looking at the comps, I want to see how spread out they are. Hopefully you've got at least a couple of weeks between comps to give the team time to recover from the competition that they've just been to process any of the judges' feedback, and to take on what changes you want to put in as a coach, and to apply those changes and make them stick and work, right? So now we've spread those out. We've got the start, we've got the end, we've got events we're doing. The other events that you might also want to consider, which sometimes can be really helpful, is one, fundraising events. I find things that are like fundraising events, team bonding events, anything like that are really good for gym and program like culture, community, bringing them together. You'll find that athletes will make really good friendships during that time, build connections, they might build confidence and lift each other up during those times, because it's a lot more relaxed, right? They're not in that training mode where it's full pressure, go, 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 go. They can actually just chill and have fun. So those are really good. You want to spread those out. Another thing to think about is, are there any local community events that your team is going to be performing at? When are those going to be? Is it something that you're doing for your team, or is it something that you're doing for your program, or both? Are they events that your team can go and perform at locally that could spread the word about cheer and help grow your team and your program? When would that be best to do? Probably not at the beginning of the season, especially if it's a new team, unless it's something like that you can go to and the team can perform skills, not necessarily a routine. But if you're going to go to an event where they're doing a routine and like performing that on stage, then you'd probably want to go around showcase and after, and make sure that it's not too much in between comps as well. End of season is always really good to do local performances, because that's a time when tryouts and open days, open gyms, things like that are coming up, so it can help bring people into your team and your program. So thinking about where you're going to put those. Then we're going to think about team training, because we've got all of our goals for the team, and we've got all of our events throughout the season and where we would like the team to be for those events. We then need to look at, okay, so where are we going to train different aspects of the team? So you're looking at, where are we going to train basic stunt skills? Where are we going to train basic tumble skills? Where are we going to advance those? Where are we going to work choreography and all of those things. So when you're getting the team at the beginning of the season in your term planning, term 1, you'd be looking at working your team skills and getting the team together. It could be really working on those basic stunt drills in groups, working them up towards their elites. And same with tumbles, working on their tumble skills, working their tumble skills up, working on their unity, all of those things. All in the first term. And then towards the end of the first term is, well, mid to end, you'd want to be looking at doing your sequences, so elite sequences, pyramid, so on and so forth. And then towards the end of your first term, you're probably going to be looking at starting choreography and starting to knit things together. Then you're looking at second term. Second term, you probably will need to be looking at, okay, well, we're going to put our routine together solidly now. So now you're going to need, you might have guest choreographers, you might have choreography days where you want the team to come in for 4-hour blocks so that you can teach bulk sections. Lots of people do that, right? It's typical in our culture to come in extra times or get guest coaches to come in and do those. So that would usually go in term 2 somewhere. Then we're starting to like piece the puzzle together. We've got our groups, we've got our stunts, we've got our jumps, we've got our choreography, and we're starting to put it together. This is around the time that you also would be thinking about music. Are you going to get the team's input into what songs they want in their mix, what raps they kind of like, if they've got any ideas on that? Are you going to theme the routine? All of that stuff kind of needs to be thought about as well before you even get to choreography, because you can't just, YOLO think of that at the time. That kind of needs to be prepped if you're going to be theming, especially with like your stunts, motions, so on and so forth. That all needs to be put in at the right time. Then towards the end of that second term, your team is going to be doing runs. So they could be doing tumble runs, stunt runs, pyramid runs, half-halves, reverse runs, full outs. How many hit zeros? Are you going to try and get them to hit 0 before showcase? Because showcase is likely going to be coming up at the end of term 2. So this will really help your class planning when you've bulk planned that first half of the season. This is where they should be. Then you get to showcase, then you're moving forward. Okay, well then we've done showcase, so we're going to get our judges' feedback. When we get our feedback from showcase, have we maxed out the team to where we want them to be for showcase, or have you watered it down a little bit? If you've watered it down a little bit so they can hit at showcase, then when's their next comp, and what are you going to change and add in depending on what the judges' feedback is, right? But if you've put a liberty in a single leg skill, that you might want to put that into a body position. Well, are those flyers going to be ready to do that body position by the next comp? If not, then what are you going to do? Are you going to ask them to do flyer classes? Are you going to do privates? Are you going to give them stretching at home? Those things need to be thought about to make sure that they're ready for the next comp, and so on, all the way through until the end of the season. So you're probably going through term 3 through comps. Term 4 will probably be more competitions. Then it'll be end of year fun, and then we're back to tryouts. So that's realistically how you plan backwards a successful cheerleading season. You really need to break down all of those components to make sure that the flow for your team is going to be successful. There are a couple of other things for a coach to think about for a successful season too. The first thing is giving some weeks here and there where it's a little bit of a break from really important things that you want covered, so that if there's absences, sickness, illness, injuries, anything can happen, right? Where you're going to have people missing. So making sure that you've got weeks where you're not, okay, we have to get this elite section done on this week. The following week we have to have, it can't be that every single week is urgent and important, because there's bound to be absences. So making sure that you've got some room to jiggle training around to make sure that you can fit everything in and not have that extreme pressure all the time will definitely help. And the second thing is parent communication. So how, as a coach or as a program, if you're part of one, do you communicate this to your parents? What is happening throughout the season? Where do they need to be? What do they need to order? What dates? What times? How far in advance are you going to give parents this information? Is this your responsibility, or does this come down to your program owner? So for me, so we're currently, when I'm recording this right now, we've just at the beginning of November. And at the end of October, I'd finished our information pack, put all of the classes up on the website for next year with all of the dates that I had at the time that were released from event providers, because we have to wait for event providers to provide us with the dates and the details of those comps before we can release them, right? But we can kind of guess, especially if we know that they're running a rough date, and you can put TBA for to be announced or TBC for to be confirmed. But I'm getting that information out to parents and families for November, December, January, February, 4 months in advance to families to allow them to prep that year. So they know if they're joining up for the junior level 1 team, well, where are they expected to be when? When's choreography? When's showcase? Are we doing any training at any other places? Just all the things for the year, what their costs are, everything for the following year to allow parents to be able to plan family life. Because, if you're a parent, then you know, right? It's a juggle squeezing everything in. If you're not, it might be coming, I don't know. But whatever you decide to do, whether you're having children or not, having to plan for other humans takes a lot. So as you would know as a coach, right? It's like having a cheer team and planning for your cheer team, and then you do that at home with your family as well. Always considerate of other people. So it's good to get that information out as early as you can with your season plan. And then how do you communicate with parents in general as a coach? Do you go and greet them? Like, do you talk to the parents? Do you go and say hi when you first take the class in? Do you talk to them after class? Do they have to email you to book an appointment? Do you not see them and you just, the kids come into the class and you coach them, and then you only see them at competitions? Like, different things work for different programs. Every program has different rules for different reasons. Maybe you have an app. Whatever it is, I think communication is key, and getting the information out as early as you can is really good. Also discussing this with athletes. So even with a tiny team, or even with, maybe not tiny so much, but with minis, for sure, like I will sit there and get my phone calendar out and say, this is the class that we're at now. Next week, you've got one more practice lesson, and then on the weekend, you're gonna have your big competition. And I will explain to them, oh, we've got skill checks coming up soon. You've got 2 more weeks. Do you know what skills you're going for to get your badges? So, and with older ones, you don't have to explain it so much like that. You can say to them, like, you've got 2 more weeks, like 3 more weeks next month, like planning, talking about what's coming up with the athletes on a lesson basis. So it doesn't have to be like long and drawn out either, but really communicating with your parents and your athletes what's happening, what's coming up, sending reminders, sending detailed information so that everything goes as smoothly as possible. So I hope that was helpful for you. Tried not to side quest as much. And if you have any questions, comments, or anything else you would like me to expand on, please just shoot it over. But I really hope that really helps somebody out there that's new to coaching, or even if you're not new to coaching, I hope you gave you something, a bit of food for thought. So hope you have a lovely day, and thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next chapter. See ya.
Thanks for sticking with me until the end of this chapter. I hope you found something useful, or at the very least cracked a smile. If you want some more, dive into more episodes, grab one of my books or a freebie at thecheerleaderbookclub.com. Hit me up on socials at the Cheerleader Book Club, and if you have a wild topic you want to hear my take on, send it over. No, really, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you, and on that note, I will look forward to seeing you in the next cheer chapter.